you remember the trend several decades ago of creating posters that displayed a variety of doors from a particular city? When Chris and I first married, the doors of Ireland hung in our home. And occasionally I would stand by the print and wonder what life was like behind that bright red door with a brass handle, a welcome mat, and a bucket of flowers at the stoop. A door is a threshold between one environment and another. Clang the knocker, the door swings open, and one might be ushered from the gloomy, cold rain of yesterday into a cozy living room with fire burning. We use thresholds as well to signify deeper changes in our lives. A spouse carries their beloved across the threshold into a new marriage. On Coronation Day in that imaginary country of Arundel, Princess Anna sung about swinging open the gates. Thresholds usher us into new relationships and new seasons. The exchange between Peter and Jesus is a threshold moment. There are two questions, one answer, and it's followed by a blessing. And with it, Jesus and Peter leave behind an initial getting to know you connection for a deeper moment of knowing, a meeting between a confessing disciple and the Son of the living God. Until this moment, Peter had followed Jesus with his feet, but had held back his heart. Peter had left his former occupation to become an occasional assistant, but he had withheld a long-term commitment. But something changed along the road in Caesarea Philippi. Entering a less hospitable environment and attuned to the speculations swirling around him, Jesus first asked the disciples who others imagine him to be. That's a pretty safe first question, right? What are other people saying? And the disciples answer readily enough. They link Jesus to the past, to familiar prophets whose lives were exemplary, but could not necessarily command allegiance now. Jesus asks the follow-up, who do you say that I am? It is a threshold question. Because who Jesus is, how we answer the question, determines who we are and how we are to live. Peter's, "You are the Messiah, the one we have been waiting for. You, Jesus, come to be the living God in our midst," moves Peter from that observation safe space into an encounter with God, the God who changes lives and transforms futures and calls people out of graves. There are countless Peters in the world, persons who sensed a hunger in their hearts for a bigger, deeper, wider life, for meaning to their days and an encounter with God, that God all of us are waiting for. Modern day Peters might be those who slip in late to church and out before the final hymn, wanting to know more, but also wanting to keep their distance. Modern day Peters might be those who know the stories, sing the hymns, eat at the table, but harbor a resistance. Yeah, God, I don't want to change my life that much. We all are Peter at some point if we are honest, As David Luce says, each of us can struggle with that gap between the words we confess on Sunday and the lives we lead the rest of the week. It is a risky threshold to cross, after all, to move from the sidelines of faith into a cruciform way of life, to say, I believe Jesus is God, and I'm willing to stake my life upon it. What propels Peter forward? Have to believe it is the same grace that made him abandon his fishing post, that months later made him walk out of the boat onto the water. It's the grace that we sing when we talk about a font of every blessing, a space to belong, a source of inspiration and amazing strength, the capacity to love in extraordinary ways. I know the moments that Jesus has met me have been spaces where any doubts about my self-worth or worries about my future or griefs over the world's pain have been answered by a God who loves not only me deeply, but every living atom and all the cosmos. In that threshold space of meeting, Jesus asked a question. Who do you say that I am? There are countless variations to that question. Do you see me and the face of the child before you? Do you watch the birds fly into the sunset and sense the Spirit breathing into you? Do you forgive, even when it is the hardest thing ever? Do you show up when justice is perverted to stand up for the discarded and the forgotten? And when the food pantry needs restocking and the neighbor's kid can't afford the camp fee, do you open your wallet, remembering your blessings? Who do you say that I am? And how do you speak it with your life? Amen.